Travel Around Kazakhstan is an educational program on domestic tourism produced within the framework of Ruhani Jangiru project. Every episode, our camera crew travels along popular routes marked on a touristification map of the Republic. Almaty is not for nothing called the City of 1,000 Colors. Every day, residents and guests of the city are discovering the architectural features of their buildings and new tourist sites. Everyone finds something of their own, close to their heart and cozy. Well, we will try. Hello, my name is Aynar Sangandikova, and this is the program Travel Around Kazakhstan. In Almaty, there are several buildings that clearly fall into the category of calling card of the city. The first of them proudly towers at the intersection of Dastik-Kurmangazy streets. Hotel Kazakhstan is the first domestic skyscraper, which for 30 years retained the status of the highest building in the country. However, this hotel could not be in the form it is today. Originally, it was planned to build a low-rise elongated object. According to the plan of the architects of the Institute, Almata Gipragor, this building was supposed to connect two parallel Almaty streets, Dastik and Lugansky. We identified this place and began to design a completely circular hotel, 60 meters in diameter, 9 floors high, and even more, we began to dig a trench. Suddenly, an unexpected turn appears in the history of the construction of the Hotel Kazakhstan. Lev Uhab Otov, at that time the chief architect of the Institute Kazgostroy Project, lived not far from the Constitution site. Every day, Lev Leonidovich watched the construction of a new building. And once, inspired by the implementation of an ambitious project, an experienced architect made his own sketch of the hotel, which he saw in perspective. He had an idea to make a high-rise building, which would emphasize the significance of this turn of Abay Avenue, down Lenin Avenue, and the value of the entire area. That is, to make the ensemble of the city more interesting, more dynamic, more vivid.
Сделать ансамбль более интересный, более динамичный.
After collecting all the necessary documents, the author of the project went to the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Kazakhstan. There, the drawings were viewed and approved in record time. As a result, the design and construction of the Hotel Kazakhstan passed to Kazgostroy Project. The Institute employed its strongest architects in the work on the multi-story building. Among them was Anatoly Anchugov. Looking through his old photos, where the founding fathers of the Hotel Kazakhstan are captured, Anatoly Evdokimovich recalls the nuances of working on this project. In addition, we laid here 2 floors underground for stability, a monolithic slab more than 3 meters, more precisely 3.6 meters deep. That is, in case of an earthquake, it could fall only as a whole. High seismic stability of the building was achieved through the introduction of innovative construction methods, which, at that time, were actively used in Japan. First, huge shafts were placed under the monolithic foundation. During the earthquake, they swing, thereby reducing the ground load on the building. Secondly, the whole structure is made according to the sliding formwork method. This was the first construction used in the construction of a civilian building, because this is not a grain elevator, which is a solid can. It is easier to do. And there are a lot of openings, windows, doors, and so on. So, this is, in general, quite a complex and technically significant event for our country. The test for seismic resistance of the hotel was carried out at the highest level. Employees from Storyni Project brought a huge vibration machine and installed on the roof. It was supposed to rock the building. In the exterior decoration of the hotel, modern building materials were used: shell rock, gypsum elements, aluminum panels. Their unusual pointed shape corresponded to the idea of the authors and gave dynamic to the structure. Facade decoration emphasizes vertical rhythm. There are no national features in the hotel. The upper crown is a bit like a headdress. By the way, many people see in the form of the construction an ear, one of the main agricultural crops of the Republic. The Hotel Kazakhstan is of a Soviet postmodernism. Within this direction, the architects sought to symmetry and proportionality, and to expressive imagery of buildings. It was during postmodernism that they began to actively introduce the decoration of walls, bas-reliefs, paintings, often borrowed from historical architectural traditions. After that harsh, ascetic, simple, constructivist architecture, for the simplicity of box elementary architecture, there were all sorts of bells and whistles. For example, the hotel has round lines. The forms are quite interesting. That is, it is not an industrial project. For 40 years, the Hotel Kazakhstan not only continued to work on its main purpose, but also became one of the symbols of the city. It is difficult to find a selection of postcards of Almaty, on which there would be no image of the hotel. Koktebia Mountain is another calling card of Almaty, for it opens a magnificent panorama of the city. On the slope of the Koktebia Mountain, there is a famous 372-meter Almaty television tower, one of the unique symbols of the city and its tallest structure. Almaty TV Tower was built in 1984. It can be seen from almost anywhere in the city. In 2006, Koktebia Amusement Park was opened next to it, which from the first days became the favorite resting place of citizens and guests of the southern capital. Despite the young age of the park, it already had its own legends and omens. For example, the first guests of Koktebia are greeted by the Alma fountain. It is believed that this fountain fulfills desires. Those who believe in omens throw coins into it, and the rest simply take photos with a huge apple. By the way, you can hear Beatles music from the sound system of Koktebye. This is the first monument in the world where musicians from Liverpool are shown together in full composition. See how John Lennon's shoulders sparkle, because every visitor should take a picture here, hugging him in a friendly way. The ropeway in Koktebye was built in 1967. Its length is 1,727 meters. The ropeway passes mainly over the area, which Almaty citizens call Kompot, because earlier the streets here were called cherry, pear, apple. Until 2016, the cableway to Mount Koktebye was serviced by these two old trailers, in which you had to drive while still waiting for your turn. Now, tourists can take 17 comfortable gondola cabins. From a height, one can clearly see how the city has historically developed, from the private sector to new modern high-rises. Park named after 28 Panfilov Guardsmen is the most popular recreation park in Almaty. It is a green area of 18 hectares, divided by smooth paths and alleys.
17 гектаров. Он разделен на ровные дорожки и аллейки.
Park of 28 Panfilov Guardsmen was founded 150 years ago. See how trees have grown over this time. There are mixed deciduous grove of perennial oaks, elms, aspen, maples, poplars, pines, and spruces. The park has long become a symbol of Almaty and a favorite place for recreation. Over the years of its existence, the park has repeatedly changed its name. But in 1942, the 1075 Regiment of the 316th Rifle Division, which held the German onslaught on the approaches to Moscow in November 1941, was not renamed definitively in honor of the Panfilov fighters. In honor of this feat, a memorial of glory was dedicated to the fallen soldiers. The memorial was opened to the 30th anniversary of the victory of the Great Patriotic War in 1975. Then, the eternal flame was lit in the park. Near the memorial, there are massive labradorite stones, beneath which are buried the capsules with the earth from the hero cities. Madeo is the highest mountain winter sports complex in the world. The area of artificial ice covers is 10,500 square meters. This area can fit into itself one football field together with the stands for spectators.
Поле вместе с трибунами для зрителей.
Today, Madeo is a world-class sports complex with all the conditions for comfortable skiing. However, few people know what kind of effort it took to build this huge structure. The construction of Madeo was declared as Mega Komsomol construction project. It involved more than 1,300 people. Kazakhstan climbers also helped to erect a skating rink. They installed a metal grid and barriers on the slope of Mount Manaka to protect the building from avalanches. Concrete for the construction of Madeo was poured without interruption, right on the site just below the rink. Initially, specialists assumed that there would be stitches in the ice, but for a world-class skating rink, this was unacceptable. Therefore, the builders decided to level the surface, covering the whole area with a concrete slab. It was then the technology of self-stressed cement was mastered. It provided high water resistance. During the construction of the sports complex, the concrete was poured not in a continuous layer, but in parts, so that plates breathe. This had to be done because concrete has the ability to expand in summer and shrink in winter. Thanks to this Soviet know-how, the Madeo design still withstands any sharp temperature changes. The stadium itself and the stands were built of concrete. The high seismicity of this region has made its own adjustments. A monolithic structure was erected with a stable facade. Initially, the architects of this project planned to make Madeo a covered ice rink. To do this, an ice cover was to be installed above the ice rink. However, in the end, they decided to abandon this venture, and there was a good reason for that. This project was conceived not only as a sports complex, but also as a platform for the rest of ordinary people who sit 8 hours a day in the stuffy city premises. Here, they could breathe pure mountain air and even sunbathe, skating topless. Therefore, they decided to make the stadium open to the general public. Experienced skaters say that Madeo has the fastest ice in the world. And the secret of its uniqueness lies in the clear mountain water, which is used to fill the field. By the way, the ice arena can accommodate up to 3,000 people at a time. The record attendance of the rink was recorded on January 3, 2016. Then, there were 13,500 people in 2 sessions. Last year was a recorded year for us. Over the entire period of the ice rink's existence, Madeo was visited by 355,000 people. This year, I think we will beat this record because only in November, 100,000 people have already visited us. Therefore, this year, we hope that 500,000 people will visit our ice rink. Of course, if the weather will allow it. Madeo is in the top 10 of the most popular must-see tourist sites in Almaty. And as you understood from our today's release, it deserves it 100%. Here, you can breathe in the fresh mountain air, enjoy the beautiful scenery of the Trans-Ili Alatao, and skate on the most famous rink in the world. Madeo is waiting for you. Today, I didn't even get to see even 10% of all the sights of Almaty. Some people prefer museums and historical monuments. Some prefer nature. For some, it is a city of creativity. For others, it is a city of business. Everyone here finds their own Almaty. I'm Aynar Sagundikova, and this was the program Travel Around Kazakhstan.